Hey guys, Susie Q here. I am a professional circus performer and yoga teacher, which means I love handstands and arm balances because that is the place where my two favorite things in the world intersect. So this is going to be a handstand and arm balance conditioning video that you can do at home alone. You don't need a spotter and you also don't need any knowledge or previous experience with handstands. We're going to be going through a few of the basics and a lot of strength building exercises that will help you get and hold your handstand. You need a mat, maybe, a hard floor, possibly, carpet, doesn't matter, possibly a couch. You can also use a chair or the edge of your bed. As always, your best teacher is going to be you and your body. Please be guided by how things feel in your body, particularly in your wrists and shoulders. Handstands are a lot of pressure on your wrists, which are very tiny. Yeah, we're putting a lot of weight onto a very small area. So it's really important that we activate the muscles in our hand to help support this joint. So a lot of the exercises we'll be doing today involve you grabbing at the floor. So thinking about making a fist into the floor, pressing your finger pads into the floor. More so the fingers, less so the thumb. What this does is it activates all the little muscles in here, which will help protect and stabilize your joint. So with that said, we'll begin with a wrist warm up. So interlace your fingers and start to make little circles here. Just starting to move everything around, getting some fluid flowing into the joints. We're going to turn these into little roller coasters. And you're going to try and roller coaster the other direction, which is surprisingly difficult. Making little fists now, tight fists, and then flicking open the fingers, tight fists and flick open. And then we're going to do all of that again. So interlace the fingers, little circles, or more like a little figure eight, really. Roller coasters, difficult roller coasters. And then making a tight little fist and flicking the fingers open. Fist, flick, fist, flick. Coming onto all fours now, hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and you're just walking around. So just walking from the right to the left, right to the left. And you're going to start to turn your hands around. So we turn our fingers slowly out to the right and the left. And then fingers will point back towards your knees, maybe back in towards each other. And then we're going to circle the whole way back round. So fingers are pointing out to the sides. And then fingers are pointing forward to me. Do that again. Out to the sides. All the way back around, fingers pointing at the knees. Back out to the sides. And then to me. Maybe even turning them inwards this time as well. Shift the weight back slightly and then turn your hands the other way. So backs of the hands to the floor. And again, we're going to start to shift side to side from right to left. We're going to start with the fingers pointing out to the sides, pointing left and right. And then you're going to start to circle them back towards you, fingers towards the knees, fingers towards each other, and then fingers towards the front. Back around now, fingers towards each other, back towards your knees, and out to the sides. Beautiful, back onto all fours. We're going to come into some cat-cows, so rounding out the spine, tucking in the chin, tucking the hips under, and then arching the hips up, pressing the chest forward. Start from your pelvis and move your head last. So moving through our cat shape, which is this one, where we're pushing our spine up to the ceiling, and then down into our cow shape, where we're pushing our tummy to the floor. As we round out into cat, think about pushing your hands forward and your knees back. And then as you come into cow, think about pushing your hands back and your knees forward. So here we're trying to stretch the mat apart, hands and knees moving away from each other. And here we're trying to get the mat to curl up in the center, pulling the heels of the hands closer towards the knees. Finishing off this round, and now we're going to start shifting the shoulders forward and back. Shoulders come in front of the wrists, shoulders come behind the wrists, shoulders come forward, shoulders come back. So as you come forward, really press the pads of your fingertips into the floor. Really push back. Not working into any area of pain in your wrist. Really work in a smaller range of motion if you're feeling any sharp pain in your wrist joint. 2 more of those. Shifting forward, pressing the finger pads into the floor and shifting back. Last time, shifting forward and shifting back. Sinking back to the knees now, hands in prayer. Flip your fingers out to one side, back of the hand to the floor. And we're going to start to rotate through the eye of the elbow pit. Elbow pit forward, and then bend the arm out to the side. Elbow pit is pointing in. Elbow pit forward and bend. Forward and bend. Forward and bend. 2 more. And then keeping the arms straight, but the elbow pit turned in. So from here to here, we're taking a little rock from side to side. Again, just working into the wrist joint, making sure everything is nice and warm before we get into our handstand practice. Flip the hands the other way now, and we're going to do the same thing. Elbow pit points forward, and then bend the elbow out to the side. Elbow pit forward, elbow to the side. A few more of those. And then we straighten the arm, turn the elbow pit in, and take a little rock from side to side. Coming into some push-ups now. Come over onto all fours once again. Take your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders, and we're going to take 8 push-ups here. So push through the floor, round out the upper part of the spine and tuck the hips under, lowering your nipples to just in between your hands. So we've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Remember to push the pads of the fingers into the floor. 2 and 1. Take a little rest back in child's pose. We're going to do that again. So come forward, hands wide. This time option on your toes. So we're going to do 8. Tuck the hips under, round out the upper back. So you really want this cat feeling, not this cow shape at all. So maybe you start out on your toes. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then maybe you do a few on your knees. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Push back to child's pose again. This time we're going to come forward to plank. So hands are directly under your shoulders. You're up on your toes. Again, I want that idea of cat pose. Push the floor away, round out the upper spine, tuck the hips under. So really try to shrink the distance between your bottom ribs and your hips. From here, we're going to lean forward and back like we did on all fours. So you shift the weight forward, press your finger pads into the floor and back. Really pushing the floor away, rounding out the spine and pressing the finger pads into the floor as you shift forward. Option, by all means, do this on your knees. Same thing though, shoulders come forward, press the finger pads into the floor. We're now going to take 8 tricep push-ups. So here, the eye of the elbows needs to point forward. So the elbows shoot back towards your knees as you lower down. We're going to do 8 here. 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pushing back, child's pose. Maybe give your wrists a little roll out as well. We're going to do that same thing again. Come forward to plank. Up onto your toes. Cat shape with the spine. Try to bring the ribs towards the hips and the hips towards the ribs. Same thing, lowering down. Maybe we'll do 4 on our toes. Maybe you do all 8 on your toes. 2, 3, 4. I'm definitely doing my last 4 on my knees. 4, 3, 2, 1. Push back, child's pose. Take a little break. And then we're going to roll out onto our back. From here, we're going to take a dish shape. So feet are together. We lift our legs just off the floor. Shoulder blades just off the floor. Try to push your belly button down and reach your arms above your head. This is kind of a handstand shape. Hands up, feet don't touch the floor, feet stay together, roll onto your tummy. Hands up, feet together, roll onto your back. Go the other way, feet stay together. One more time, roll back. Beautiful, take a little rest here. Very good, guys. Let's come up now. So coming up to stand. We're going to do a couple of handstand entries. So I call these high five handstands because it's like you're high-fiving yourself with your foot. You're going to start with your right foot in front. Place your hands very gently on the floor. And then left leg comes up. Right foot taps the left foot and steps back down. Left leg up. Right foot tap, step back down. We're going to do 10 of these. So keep going and I'll keep talking through what you need to think about. So your feet don't have to go high. These can be really low to the floor. What I want you to think about is pushing the floor away as soon as your hands touch down. We're going to do 10, stepping off the right foot. And then 10, stepping off the left foot. Really push the floor, push. Remember, they can be low. If you keep them low, you are at no risk at any time of falling over. I think that's about 10. Change legs now. Same thing, stepping off your left foot, high five in the air, push the floor away with your hands. Remember, we're grabbing at the floor with our fingertips. My left foot is nowhere near as good as my right foot. Make sure you're placing your hands very gently on the floor. Once you've done your 10, we'll come down for a quick stretch out of the wrists. So keep going, finish your 10. So 20 in total, 10 stepping off the right leg, 10 off the left leg. Hands out in front once you're done and stretching out through the wrists. I'll wait here until you've done your 10. Backs of the hands to the floor, same thing. And again, palms out, fingertips down, palms down, and then pull back, stretching out through the forearm. backs of the hands to the floor, fingertips back towards you, stretching out through the back of the wrist. Remember our dish shape we did on the floor? We're going to hop into that very quickly, and then we're going to use our couch, chair, bed, kitchen bench, whatever you have handy. So lying on your back, head and shoulders are off the floor and feet are off the floor. So we're back in our dish shape, okay? What I want you to do here is you should be able to just see your toes. Maybe it's more like a dinner plate, less like a dish. So keep it nice and low. So as low as you can, with heels still off the floor and shoulder blades still off the floor. Beautiful, and release. So this idea of just seeing our toes is what we're going to be looking for in our next drill. We're going to come to our couch or chair. Hands are going to go onto the floor. Make sure they're shoulder distance apart. Make sure they're your shoulder distance apart. Fingers are spread out, but not maximum spread out. They're relaxedly spread out, and you're grabbing at the floor with your hands. So hands shoulder distance apart, grabbing the floor. I'm going to pop my feet up on the edge of my couch or chair. So I'm trying to get a straight line from my wrists up to my bum. Grabbing at the floor with my hands, we're going to hold here. If you want to make it a little bit harder, you can lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. So now there is a tendency to flick it all the way over. What I want you to do, tuck in your chin, look up, flex your foot. You should just be able to see your right toes. Holding here, push the floor away. The longer you stay, the more you'll sag down. Push the floor, check you can see your toes. Push and release down. Knees are together, hands back by your feet, head on the floor. We're going to do that 3 more times. So same setup. Hands on the floor, grab at the floor like you're trying to make a fist. This time we're going to use our left foot to lift up. So pushing the ground away with the hands. If you want to stay here, you absolutely can. Left leg goes up, tuck in the chin, look up, flex the left toes. You should just be able to see your left big toe, and that's going to stop you flicking it all the way over and keep you in more of a straight line. Push the floor away. Remember, the longer you stay, the more you're going to sag down. Push. 3, 2, 1. Stepping down. Knees together, hands back by your feet, head on the floor. Two more times. Once more with the right leg up and once more with the left leg up. We'll do 10 seconds for each one. Really remember, push the floor away the whole time. The longer you stay, the more you'll relax. Don't relax, push. Let's go right leg. Tuck in the chin, check you can see the big toe. Push the floor, 10, 9, 8, 7, push, 6, 5, grab the floor, 4, push more, 3, 2, and 1, release down. Knees together, hands near the feet, rest. And coming into our last one now, left leg is going to lift up. Push the floor, hands shoulder distance, grab at the floor. Left leg lifts up, tuck in the chin, check you can see the toes. Push, 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 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, sorry, I got to point my toes, 5, 4, 3, 2, push, 1, come down. Knees together, hands near the feet, take a rest. Beautiful. Little roll out of the wrists, same thing that we did at the start of the class. And then we've got 3 options for this next drill. So we'll do it 3 times and then we'll do it again. But with this one, stay in your lane. If you're more of an option 1, stay with option 1. So my knees are together and the tops of my feet are flat on the floor. Hands are shoulder distance apart on the floor. So first of all, I push the floor, I round out the spine like cat pose, push the tops of the feet into the floor and lift my knees just up off the floor. The important thing here is that push and that round out of the spine. Release back down. Option 2, hands a little bit closer to the knees. So here, the heel of my hand is just in front of my knee. Hands are shoulder distance, I'm grabbing the floor. Start out, I round out the spine, chin into the chest, push through the tops of the feet and hold. Pushing as hard as you can and releasing back down. If option 2 is your jam, stay with option 2. If you want to go harder, move the hands back even further. So now my fingertips are in line with my knee tips, the top of my knees. Everything else is the same. Round out the spine, chin to chest, push the floor, press the tops of the feet into the floor and hold. So here, my knees are in my chest and the tops of my feet are pushing into the floor. The more I lean forward and then press my finger pads into the floor, the less weight I'm putting into my feet and the less uncomfortable it is in my feet. We're going to do that one more time. So if you want to stick, well, not one more time, 3 more times. If you want to stick with option 3, you can do that 3 times. If you want to work through all 3, you can do that too. So let's go. Option 1, hands in front, press the tops of the feet into the floor. Round out the spine, chin to chest and lift up. Push the floor away. Knees are hovering. Weight is forward. Press the finger pads into the floor. Release back down. Option 2, the heel of the hand is in line with the top of the knee. Round out the spine, chin to the chest. Push the feet into the floor, knees to the chest and hold. Really push the floor here. Knees are bent, weight is forward. And release back down. Option 3, tips of the fingers in line with the tips of the knees. Round out the spine, chin to the chest, push into the floor, lift and hold. If you want to add on here, you can try and lift up 1 foot, 2 feet. Both feet is like a goal for me. I'm not there yet. No. Lower back down. Release out through the hands. Guys, we've just got 1 more drill and then we're going to rest our wrists and take a little stretch and a cool down. So before we do that, maybe holding the joint, giving it a little rotation. And the other way. And same thing on the other side, holding the joint, giving it a little rotation. And same thing the other way. All right, we're going to come into downward facing dog now. Hands shoulder distance apart. Tuck the toes under, lift up. A good way to check your down dog distance is to come forward into plank. Okay, hands under shoulders, straight line from the crown of your head down to your heels. Don't move your hands or feet, push back. So this might be a comfy downward dog, it might not, depending on the length of your arms and legs. We're going to hold here, pressing the chest back towards the thighs, thinking about sinking the heels down towards the floor. Take your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders. So maybe even just off your mat. Walk your feet half a step closer to your hands. Come onto your tippy toes. Look familiar? Push the floor, round out the spine. I've even turned my hands out slightly for this one. And you're going to lower your head to the floor 8 times. If head to the floor is too much, just go part way. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to child's pose. Knees to the floor, hands out in front, rest the head down. Taking a little bit of rehabilitation, recovery for our wrists now. Palms out in front, fingertips to the floor, palms to the floor, and then pull back. And then hands the other way, backs of the hands to the floor, fingertips back, turning back towards you. Palms to the floor, heels of the hands close, fingers turning out to the side. And we're going to do that same action at the elbow that we did in the warm-up. So eyes of the elbows turn forward, and then elbows bend out over your middle fingers. They won't go very far. Eyes of the elbows turn forward, elbows bend out over middle fingers. 2 more times. Eyes of the elbows forward, elbows out. 1 more. Eyes of the elbows forward, elbows out. Beautiful. Make fists now, super tight fists, knuckles to the floor. So you want to keep that fist. You want to keep the fingernails pressing into the palms. As you do this, they're going to want to come out. Don't let them. So tight fists, knuckles to the floor, rolling out, trying to get the backs of the hands to the floor, and then coming back up, knuckles, rolling out. So trying to have straight arms and fingernails pressing into the palms. Beautiful. Finishing off with a couple of shoulder opening stretches using our handy piece of equipment. We're going to start with 2 hands on, hands shoulder distance, and dropping the chest through. If you think about tipping your sit bones up, you get a bonus stretch through your hamstrings. We're going to do the same thing, except you're going to turn your hands like this, like you're serving something to someone. So palms are turned up, pinkies are quite close, everything else is the same. You're thinking about dropping your chest through, lifting your sit bones up. Now we're going to take our right hand onto our right shoulder blade, right elbow onto the edge of, maybe go something hard here, so kitchen bench or chair is perfect, and dropping the chest forward. Here you want to think about rolling the outside edge of your right armpit down towards the floor. So your hand is going to naturally want to drift over to the left. Don't let it. Keep steering it over to the right by rolling that right armpit down towards the floor, getting a stretch down this line of the tricep here. And same thing on the other side. Left elbow up, left hand on the left shoulder blade, dropping the chest down, rolling the outside edge of the left armpit down towards the floor. Again, don't let the hand drift over to the right side. Try to keep it on the left shoulder blade. And you do that by rolling your left armpit closer to the floor. and release. Bringing your hands together, little roll, same way we started out the class. Roller coasters, broken roller coasters, and then squeeze the hands and flick a couple of times. And that, guys, is the end of our handstand conditioning class today. I'm Susie Q. Thank you so much for joining me.